Xbox Game Pass, here are 10 suggestions for the month of November. Some of these are available right away, and some of them will release throughout the month. First up, we got Rainbow Six Siege. This is a multiplayer-focused tactical shooter where you're working on either the attacking or the defending side, using a variety of special operators that each have unique skills, and trying to defend positions. Everything is really objective-focused. Aside from a competitive multiplayer, there's also a cooperative multiplayer experience where you work together in order to battle opposing forces that come in waves and also deal with objectives, but in a slightly different PvE sort of way. The core experience of this is the PvP. There are a ton of maps, a plentiful amount of operators to choose from, and it's a game that continues to get supported and updated. If you haven't jumped into it already, it's kind of crazy. You can even destroy the walls to a degree, which is super cool. Just a very well done, refined experience. This is Ark Survival Evolved. It is a game that is based on surviving in a sort of dino and or monster kind of society and area. You awaken, you don't know what's going on, you try to figure things out, you craft, you discover, you explore, you battle giant monstrous bosses, you try to figure out what's going on here. There's a bit of a story, I guess, but the core of the experience is basically working on your character trying to stay alive against a world that is hostile with creatures that are always trying to attack you. You can play this alone or with others online or even with your friends in specifically set up matches. It's kind of a lot of fun, and sorry for the footage being all screen tearing. This is early Xbox One footage I had to dig up for this particular situation. It's actually a pretty fun game and decently well done, and it'll perform interestingly depending on where you're playing it, but still it's, an enjoyable experience. This is Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's right, we're getting this through the EA Play option, so we're finally going to start seeing some really high-tier EA games be a part of Game Pass, which is kind of exciting and awesome. That means we're going to kind of filter them in every once in a while. Anyways, Battlefront 2, you get a really great canon story with some interesting characters that even got a bit of an extra, I guess you could say, expansion story aspect that sort of wrapped things up in a very pleasing way. There's a truly expansive multiplayer that covers all the eras of Star Wars. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's just a lot of fun to play. It's a great experience for playing with others or by yourself. Then there are a bunch of other modes. They've just added a ton of content, whether you want to play, I guess, locally or online competitively, where the real action is playing against others online. They've really just brought together such a beautiful, expansive Star Wars experience. It's definitely worth your time. It's a dwarf mining game set in the future called Deep Rock Galactic. This is where you are playing, again, as a squad of dwarfs. You can play with your friends, kind of play alone as you're going around exploring, collecting minerals, and destroying almost any aspect of the environment. You can dig through it, break stuff, smash things, and explore these really dark and mysterious caves with lots of crazy creatures and problems getting in your way as you're trying to collect resources and survive a little bit longer. I am showcasing, I guess, a bit of the tutorial, because when I stopped playing the game, it actually released fully from its game preview, which is great. So you do have a fully refined and excellent experience that is definitely worth your time if you're looking for a fun co-op sort of game for you and your friends. It really is quite a blast. It's colorful, it's weird, it's bizarre, and it's got like a little bit of a sense of humor to it, which I think is quite a lot of fun. Definitely something worth checking out if you're looking for something that is really different. This is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. So this is the return of a very interesting JRPG experience. It's got kind of a live combat action style to it instead of being turn-based, which is what you usually see from the genre. It's got a gorgeous art style and an engaging story with interesting characters. You're basically kind of fleeing from a particular situation. You've got a band of characters trying to deal with things, and you're moving across a fairly vast countryside as you're making decisions within your squad, and then you're checking out dungeon type areas too. Lots of different events and things to check out. It's actually kind of a well-known and well-liked entry within this particular genre of games, and I think it might be something that certain individuals do actually like and want to engage in. It is a lovely experience, and actually I did play quite a bit of it when it did release. So this is Gears Tactics, and a very interesting spin-off in the series that acts as a bit of a prequel. So this is a fast-paced, strategy-focused, turn-based game. So you're playing as usually this squad of the COG. You're kind of on the edge of things, a little bit of a rogue team, and it has an interesting story with unique cinematics that actually kind of build into the core Gears of War franchise. It does stand entirely by itself, and it has some really cool aspects. So it's kind of challenging, hardcore, it's really gritty, really violent, and it's the same aesthetic of Gears of War, but in a completely different visual style, and it just works perfectly well. Their customization that's present here is so cool. You can really tweak your troops and make them all kinds of silly things. You fight big monsters, and with this console release, they're adding a lot of new content to it. I certainly enjoyed it on PC, and I'm eagerly looking forward to showcasing the console version in the future too. So this is Titanfall 2, another game that's available through the EA Play integration into Game Pass. It's a super well-loved shooter that's got a surprisingly deep and well-done narrative aspect to it, and also a really good competitive multiplayer side. There are of course other modes, and it's just a really refined, well-loved, and fast-paced shooter. It has cool, I guess you could say, parkour movements to it, fun grappling hook, a good selection of content. It was updated and given quite a lot of love, and it's something you always see online as being considered criminally underrated. It is a really good game though, seriously. It's quite well done. I love the first Titanfall. I didn't necessarily play this one as much, but it's definitely worth the download and stuff if you're looking for a good fast-paced kind of futuristic shooter. I think it hits the mark, brings a lot of action, and it's something that so many people recommend, you know, that you definitely might want to give this one a whirl if it fits into your genre of gaming. So this is Fandango Remastered. This is a classic adventure game. It's considered one of the best adventure games and perhaps one of the best games of all time. It's kind of like a noir style exploration through darkness and perhaps death. And yeah, it's not going to be for everyone, but the fact that we now have Double Fine under the fold of the Xbox brand, these classic games being able to become available on the platform is great. These really are, you know, perhaps a niche, but I think something that you are missing out on if you don't give it a try. It might be your type of game. Like aesthetically, it's really quite cool. Narrative-wise, it's well done. It's got some strange quirks, because Double Fine games always have that. And I mean, it was underneath the whole, I guess you could say, LucasArts brand back in the day, but yeah, it's different, but perhaps something that you might like, and I try to find some stranger titles, especially ones like this. So this is Celeste. This is a sort of, I don't know if you could call it definitely a hardcore sort of platformer that's got a deeper kind of story beat to it as well. Charming characters, well done movement. It's something that is thoroughly loved by many, and it's something you hear in discussions quite a bit. This is just the opening here, so hopefully it doesn't kind of spoil anything of the actual core gameplay. But as you can see, it's very sleek, and it's got a very cool visual aesthetic to it that I think kind of makes it stand out in the crowd, and it's something that might, again, be a little bit different and worth your time. It might surprise you, and you'll be like, oh, okay, this is a very neat choice, because again, I'm trying to find different options and a lot of variety here so that you have different choices for different types of gamers and for different types of situations for what you might be feeling when you are looking at games on Game Pass. And finally, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. So this is, you know, particular niche. I think the younger audience tends to like this one. The whole series is available. I just picked the first one as an example here. They're all added to Game Pass. It's a good time to kind of the late Halloween aspect of things. It's kind of a spooky thing with animatronics, and, you know, it's got like a little horror element, but it's not too dark, and it's something everyone can enjoy. Like, it's more skewed towards the younger audience in that regard. So I thought, yeah, you know what, it fits in at the time, it's freshly added, I think it's a good one to include here. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this selection of Game Pass titles for the month. I try to do this every month. Be sure to like the video so more people can check it out. Subscribing is cool too. And of course, if I missed anything, let me know. Stay tuned next month for, again, another great selection of Game Pass games.